Welcome to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy superfan.
Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube and Instagram, with new episodes on Tuesdays. So we're back again together. So rare that's happening twice. Or
it's just so magical that I was in your neighborhood again.
Yeah, because it's my magical birthday today.
At
the time of this recording.
Yay!
At the time of this recording, it will be weeks after my birthday.
We're going to party it up. And by party it up, we're going to eat candy and pizza and watch movies.
Yeah,
those are the kind of parties we have.
In pajamas. That's
pajamas.
Yeah, that's the kind of party I'm interested in.
Not really clubbing girls.
No, this is a party that I'm interested in now. Okay, so yes, we have a very fun episode today with a lot of new people, new characters.
There was a lot. You warned me, and I was just like, I was texting Ashley while I'm watching it, and I was like, what?
Angelica!
And my phone might have autocorrected.
Sure. I was like, oh my god, Angelica's back.
Typing.
Angelica! Yeah, so the episode is Faith, Hope, and Trick. And the original air date was October 13th, 1998, written by David Greenwald and directed by James A. Contner. And the synopsis is, just as Buffy tries to return to her normal life of going to school, hanging out with friends, and saving the world, she is faced with the arrival of an ancient, cloven-hooved villain and his blood-sucking sidekick, Mr. Trick. Another new Sunnydale arrival, Faith, helps Buffy in her battle against the unspeakable demons and integrates herself into every aspect of Buffy's life.
Does she ever? It's like, damn, girl, get your own life.
Yeah, this is like, are we having deja vu here? Of like when Kendra came around?
Oh, a little bit, but this was even more.
Yeah, like, Buffy was very,
I feel like when Kendra came around, Kendra was at least still, I feel like, confident in herself. Mm-hmm. So it just wasn't as, I don't know, like when Faith was doing it, I was like, it was actually annoying me when Faith was doing it. It didn't bug me when Kendra did it. I don't know. Anyway.
Right.
It was different.
It's an interesting take.
Yeah, Faith was
good instincts.
She was getting on my nerves at the end of the episode. I was like, I don't like you.
Really? I thought you would... well, it's only been one episode.
Well, I actually loved her at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then it just kept... I was just like, this is too much. But then at the end of the episode when they explained things, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. No, and also I love Eliza Dushku, so yeah.
I would say that if I had to say, like, one character that you would probably really like, and not necessarily because they're, like, the goodest... or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, the most heroic or whatever, but that you would just think was, like, really fun and, like, really, like, I would say it's probably Faith.
It is. She's very cool.
So,
she's very relatable.
This is only her first episode, so there's a lot to get with Faith. So, it's interesting because the name of the episode is Faith, Hope, and Trick. So, we have Faith Lehan, Scott Hope, and Mr. Trick.
Scott Hope.
It's, Scott. The new love interest.
Oh, the cute boy.
His last name is Hope.
Oh, Faith, Hope, and Trick.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's also
how do I not catch these things?
It's also a take on Corinthians 13:3, which talks about faith, hope, and love.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So they did a Bible thing.
So I really like that it's like each new character is Faith, Hope, and Trick. So they just changed the last the last word there for Mr. Trick.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we start out in the quad. So I love, this scene is actually really funny. So Oz, Willow, Xander, Cordelia are leaving the campus for lunch because they're allowed to now that they're seniors.
Willow is just so, she's like, but what if we get in trouble? Maybe we're still going to get in trouble.
When she says, maybe they changed the rule and forgot to tell us or we didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
But she's all confident at first. She's like, yes, we're seniors, we can do this. And then she freaks out and they have to literally carry her across the street.
Yeah.
Oz and Xander have to.
She's pretty adorable.
Yeah, it's so cute.
And then what's even cuter is they go to meet Buffy, who's prepared a little picnic for them. I was like, that's cute. I feel like we didn't do that when I was in high school.
We weren't allowed to, like, leave campus, period.
You weren't?
We weren't even allowed to eat outside, no.
Oh, we were the same thing. So when we turned 18, it was. So as soon as you turned 18, you were allowed to leave campus. And in Canada, when I was going to high school, there were 5 levels of high school. So grade 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So we turned 18.
I didn't know that you had a 13th grade.
So I had 5 years of high school.
That is crazy.
They stopped doing it the year after I graduated, actually. So I think everyone, they finished it, like, a couple years after that. But, yeah, they don't do it anymore.
So now it just goes to 12?
Now it just goes to 12, because they wanted to be more American, I guess. Which I thought was weird, but whatever. I liked having 5 grades of high school.
It's funny. I've never even heard of a grade 13. That's so funny. That's so interesting.
I don't think I would have been emotionally prepared to go to college at 17. That's just so weird to me.
Yeah, but we never were allowed to, like, I went to a private Catholic school for high school, so that probably could have something to do with it. I don't know what the rules of the public school were, but yeah, we weren't. It was just like you go to the cafeteria, like doesn't matter what age you are, what grade you are, you go to the cafeteria for lunch, and that's it.
So
You're not allowed to like wander around.
When I was in middle school, so grade 7 and 8, if we got a permission slip from our parents, we were allowed to leave for lunch.
Oh God, yeah, I went to a public elementary school and junior high, and that was never a thing either.
So I grew up in a town of 500 people, so nothing was gonna happen.
Yeah, no, we didn't like. No, that was not a thing. It looks fun.
It is fun. It is fun.
It looks fun, but no, I had no experience with this. So,
Okay.
Yeah, they're meeting Buffy for lunch because Buffy has to be off school grounds.
She's not allowed.
Yeah, so
Yet.
she is like legally allowed to be where she's at.
Yeah.
And she packed a cute little lunch for
I thought
everybody.
this was funny as they were like wandering up. They're all like cute and cuddly and stuff, and then Oz is like, prepare to uncouple.
Yeah, yeah. Willow thinks it would like maybe uncomfortable, Ruffy.
Which is nice. That was thoughtful.
Yeah, I think that it's funny because Cordelia says, what? Because the last guy who liked her turned out to be a psycho and tried to kill us all, or something along those lines. Very Cordelia.
Yeah.
And so they kind of just, decouple and walk up and see her. So they're talking about her getting back into school. Her and her mom have an appointment with Snyder, like still working on that. Buffy doesn't know about the stuff with Giles at the end of the last episode.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's right.
So hopefully we get some good news for Buffy. And Willow is very much like team, like Buffy getting back into the everything.
She wants
what
her
I mean?
to get her life
She's
back.
really encouraging
she wants
her.
a sense of normalcy for her.
Yeah, she's really encouraging her to get back into like normal things. So she's
Dating.
for example.
But ways.
Yeah, so Scott Hope, this new character, walks by and he says hi to Buffy. And Willow kind of says, oh, he liked you last year. Like, he said his eye on Buffy for a long time, but Buffy's just, there was Owen and then, of course, Angel. So he was not on her radar, really. Yeah. But he smiles at her. He still looks really sweet. He's cute.
He is cute.
He's cute. And she just goes, hi.
Seems like a nice boy.
And I like Willow's like, oh, that went well. Don't you think that went well? I mean, he just walked by. They just said hi to each other.
Cordelia said something like, he didn't try to slit our throats, so that's progress.
Yeah.
Cordelia.
Yeah, Cordelia always with those comments. And it was funny when Willow said, oh, yeah, you can do that thing that boys like with your mouth that boys like or something. And they're all like, what? She's like, not that. I just mean the half smile.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
So she's really pushing her to like, see if there's anything there at Scott. And Buffy's hesitant, but you can tell she's like kind of interested in him.
She does seem interested. And she wants to get back to a normal life too.
Yeah, she's definitely scared.
One of the things I didn't like about this scene was a Xander moment.
I already knew what you were gonna say. Yeah.
So when they're talking about that cute little half smile after the Scott boy wanders away, Xander says, I saw that half smile, you little slut. That's not okay.
No.
That's not okay.
Xander has been doing so well.
Wow, I really liked him. And this just, wow, I was just like, you're such a dick.
Yeah.
Like, he's a little jealous, even though he's with Cordelia.
Ugh.
So I don't know what his problem is.
Yeah,
but nothing like chipping away, like, it chips a girl away when you say shit like that. And you're doing it, like, to be funny, and it's not funny, and it's just...
And he got a nice Slayer punch for his trouble, which was good, because that hurt like hell. It was not just a normal person punching him. It's a superhero punch. So I'm glad he was like, oh, like, it really hurt him. So, yeah, Xander, you're doing so well.
Yeah, I guess he can't be perfect all the time.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not a good moment for Xander. So Buffy's talking about, like, she wants to get back into everything, and, she just wants to, like, date, shop.
Yeah, girly things.
Save the world from unspeakable demons. Girly things. So, yeah, she's just trying to get back into life and take it onto her social life as well. So we go to, like, this fast food place called Happy Burger. And a limo goes through the drive-thru.
With a very cute limo
Fancy.
driver.
I didn't even notice the limo driver.
Well, it was Mr. Trick.
Oh, he was in the back.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, Mr. Trick was cute.
Oh, did we see the limo driver?
No, we didn't. Sorry. I thought I saw him get out of the front passenger seat, but no, I guess not. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, so a limo...
Mr. Trick is cute.
He pulls through the drive-thru, and it's a black vampire, And he's wearing a suit.
Yeah, he looks good.
And he's kind of like excited to be in Sunnydale. He's like a lot of opportunity.
But he says it's a little of the Caucasian persuasion.
Not good for the brothers, he said. A little bit of the Caucasian persuasion. But you can't argue with that death count. Something along those lines. So he's like, it's a little white here, but, you know, it's got a lot going for it because, like, obviously it's the Hellmouth. So I think he's excited to be there. And the person next to him, who we don't really see fully at this point, but we do see that his hand is a hoof.
Yeah, that's creepy. I was just like, what is that?
Yeah. And he just is like, I'm just here for the Slayer. Like, I want to kill the Slayer.
Yep.
And Mr. Trick is like, you know, bigger picture than the Slayer.
Yep.
So they're traveling buddies, but I think they have different goals.
He wants to rip her spine from her body, eat her heart, and suck marrow from her bones. And then Mr. Trick is all like, well, now I'm hungry. He grabs the poor cashier boy into the limo, and they just
Take off.
on him.
Yeah, they take off, and his little legs are like, out the window. So that poor guy is dead. And then we go to the credits, and we come back. We're at the Bronze, and Buffy dances with Angel. So obviously we're saying this is probably a dream.
Yep.
And the Claudine, he kind of has a Claudine, it drops. Angel picks it up, and then when she sees the Claudine in a dream, she has a flashback of killing him.
Mm-hmm. He gets angry and he bleeds and decomposes, and then he just go to hell.
Yeah, she sees like the blood coming from the wound that she inflicted, basically, and she gets all concerned, and he gets mad, and he looks like he's like a corpse, and he says, "Go to hell, I did," and that wakes Buffy up. And she has the ring in her bedside table. So she kind of takes it out and looks at it. So she's obviously, very still much dealing with the Angel stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because she also hasn't shared any of this with anybody.
Yeah, she's holding it all in.
Exactly. She's dealing with it all on her own, which is not good.
Yeah. She hasn't confided in anybody about all this. So then her mom yells up, like, okay, it's time to go see Snyder.
Principal Snyder.
Yeah. So we're at Principal Snyder's office. And he has a bunch of conditions to let her back in school. Because he has basically been forced to let her back into school.
He has to.
So she has to pass all makeup tests because she left before finals. So she has to do all those makeup tests. Yep. She has to have a letter of recommendation that's not from a British librarian.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, Giles is Team Buffy, so he's like, somebody else. You gotta have somebody else.
Interview with the school psychologist?
Yeah.
For her violent tendencies, to get her violent tendencies under control. Yeah,
so, she, that part, even if, like, we liked Snyder, I feel like that's pretty, like, reasonable, the last part.
Yeah.
Like, the first and the last one I feel like are pretty reasonable. If
the recommendation letter
is weird. But, I think that's fair if we liked him. Since we don't. It's not fair. Just let her back in the school. So basically Buffy says, oh, so you basically had to let me in because you were undermined by the school board.
It put your whole job into question.
Yeah, because just basically overrode you and like questioned your whole like ability to do your job. And he's just like, sour grapes. And then Joyce,
oh my god.
Joyce says, I think what my daughter's trying to say is na 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 na. I think is what she says.
That's exactly what she says.
Which is great. Because like Buffy was being all like, she was definitely sticking it to him, but she was being more mature, and her mom's like, nah, 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 nah.
I liked Joyce in that moment, I will admit.
Okay, good. You had a good Joyce moment.
And then as they're leaving, somebody says, the mayor's on line 1. So we keep getting these little breadcrumbs for this mayor thing. I still have no idea what's going on with this.
Yeah, the mayor comes up again.
I'm curious to see when we finally get what's going on with this.
Yeah, he's
Hopefully
definitely...
it's this season?
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see. So we're at the library, and Willow and Buffy meet up with Giles, and he's immediately like, business. And Buffy's like, stop gushing about me being back, Giles. It like makes me like uncomfortable. He's like, oh, sorry.
Contain yourself
about how happy you are that I'm back. And he's like, of course I'm happy you're back. He says that he's working on a binding spell on a Kathala. Right. So that was the spell he's going to do, is a binding spell.
Just to make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah, just to make sure that he can't be opened again, and they don't want that happening again.
And Willow was all like, I can help.
Yeah, because Willow has been practicing witchcraft, as we know. And so she thinks that this would be a good thing that she can help. And Giles is like, you can help with the research on it.
Giles just squashes her right down.
Yeah, he doesn't want her messing with this stuff. So she kind of recounts, he asks Buffy for more information about what happened.
And she just gives the Cliff's Notes?
Yeah, she gives the Cliff's Notes. She does not say that Angel got his soul back.
Yeah.
She very much leaves that out. Just that they fought, she killed him, it closed the
Because
Akathala.
Willow even says that she tried to cure Angel, and Buffy doesn't say anything.
What?
Willow even says that she tried to cure Angel, and Buffy doesn't say anything.
Right. Yeah. Willow says, like, obviously my spell, like, didn't work.
Yep.
And yeah, Buffy doesn't correct her.
Yep.
Yeah, Willow has been doing some magic. Okay, then we go to the bronze. The band playing is Darling Violetta. And Willow and Oz are making out.
Making out.
And Buffy's like, hey, don't mind me. I'm just going to come sit by you guys while you make out.
Not awkward.
Yeah, not awkward. And she says that she's passed one of her, I can't remember which one it was. Literature, maybe? She passed one of her makeup tests.
Yeah.
So she's like going to knock these out one by one. So she's happy that she's passed that. And she's at the bronze with her friends. So things are looking up for Buffy. Buffy's in a good mood.
Yeah.
And Scott comes up. He says, oh, how does it come up? He's like, oh, hi, Buffy. She said, hi. And so I can't remember how it comes up, but he's like, oh, yeah, Willow said that if I came after 8, I could find you here. Like, it was a total setup that Willow, like, orchestrated.
Super smooth.
And Willow's just, like, drinking her drink, like, hiding behind it. Like, really, you just, like, set this whole thing up. And he asked Buffy to dance.
No pressure.
And she's like, thanks for asking me, but he's like, I'm just going to go to the dance floor and you can join me if the mood strikes you.
He's cute. Like, I like how because he's not, like, that would be, like, a confidence killer for me. I'd just be like, ooh, okay, bye.
In this episode, the fact that he is still around at the end.
Yep.
Because, like, after, like, the first 2 times, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, that's
like,
it.
he really, like, puts up a lot.
Yeah.
Puts up with a lot in Buffy in
He
this
seems
episode.
sweet. He seems, I think he must have a bit of self-confidence, which is great.
So he, like, leaves it open-ended and he goes away. Cordy sees a girl and a guy dancing on the dance floor. She's, I guess, dancing normally, and he's dancing, like weird, like, just a bad dancer and a bad dresser, too.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's very erratic.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Buffy's like, oh, he looks like a vampire because he's dressed, like, out of date and his dancing is, like, not good. So they leave, the woman and him, and so Buffy follows because she's like, obviously this vampire is luring this girl out into which is we've seen before, out of the bronze. So when she tries to follow them out of the bronze, she runs into Scott, who thinks, oh, she's coming to dance with me.
Poor Scott.
And says, oh, no, actually, I have to go. He's like, oh, okay, sorry, my bad. I thought you were coming to dance with me. No, I'm just leaving. Oh, okay. Thanks. All right. Very nice. Poor Scott. Rejected for the 2 times in, like, 15 minutes. So Buffy goes outside and she sees the girl fighting the vampire.
Yeah. Well, she follows them, and the boy has her cornered and tells her to stop struggling, and then she starts kicking his ass. I was like, whoa, I wasn't seeing that coming.
Think Cordelia or somebody was like, they're probably just making out. And Willow's like, that doesn't sound, because they hear, like, a scuffle. A scuffle. And Willow says, that's not what making out sounds like, unless I'm doing it wrong. If anybody was making out wrong, I feel like it'd probably be Willow. Like, I feel like she'd be like, oh, I missed a crucial step in this whole thing. I feel like. Poor thing. Yeah, so they run up and they see that the girl is fighting the vampire, and she's holding her own, very much so. Yep. And
she pauses mid-fight to introduce herself to Buffy as Faith.
Yeah, and she's like, you must be Buffy, something along those lines. She knows Buffy.
She asks if she can borrow a steak, and then dusts him, and she's like, thanks, Bea. Couldn't have done it without you. I'm like, oh, this sassy, spunky chick just kind of waltzes into kicking ass into their life.
Yeah.
She just sort of gives Buffy a new nickname. Interesting.
One time you called her Bea, and I was like, somebody will call her Bea in the future. That's who it is.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that.
Faith calls Buffy Bea. And, I think it's Xander that says, looks like there's a new Slayer in town. They've been down this road before. Yep. So they know that this is probably a Slayer.
Interesting.
Yeah, they go back into the
Faith is telling stories about dusting, and is like, isn't it crazy how you can get so hungry and horny after slaying? And
they look at Buffy like, what?
And she's like, sometimes I crave a non-fat yogurt. That's so different.
So funny. Faith was telling a story about how she was, like, wrestling an alligator naked because the vampire, like, kept them as pets.
It's so weird.
And Xander's like, right next to his girlfriend.
Super gross.
Xander,
he's
stop. He's hot and heavy about Faith. Yeah. So gross. And Faith says they're going to have a lot of fun, her and Buffy, because they're watcherless and they're going to, like, kick some ass. She's like, what do you mean you're watcherless? So we go to the library, and poor Giles.
Oh, this was sad.
There's a watcher's retreat in England.
The great honor.
You have to be invited. And Giles the watcher of the actual Slayer, well, I guess Faith is the actual Slayer, but it was not invited.
Yeah. He never has.
It never has been. And he very much is sad about it.
He's sad about it.
He like is talking about all the things they do there, and he's like, this whole episode he really can't get over it that he hasn't been invited.
It's so disappointing.
Yeah, poor thing.
And then Faith says something like, if I'd known they come that young and cute, I would have requested a transfer. I was like, huh.
Yeah, about Giles. Yeah, Buffy's like,
Interesting.
this is just, don't ever say that again. Like,
That's
this
not
is disgusting.
how I viewed Giles. Raise your hand if you.
Ew, yeah. Buffy is disgusted by this comment. Buffy invites Faith to dinner kind of under duress a little bit.
Yeah.
She doesn't really want to invite her, but she feels like she has to.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go patrolling afterwards.
Yeah, and Giles mentioned 2 people disappeared by Sunset Ridge.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So they're going to work together and, like, check it out after dinner.
So I wrote, this is a side note that I wrote. So after all of these interactions so far, but then even, I mean, I noticed this even more so after the supper thing, but like I wrote, Faith seems like a shiny new toy that everyone wants, like in kindergarten. Mm-hmm. Like this shiny new toy comes and everybody's just kind of grappling for it.
Yeah, no, that's very accurate, I think.
It was like interesting.
Yeah. So Giles wants more Akathala details from Buffy.
Yes, and she dodges more of the questions again.
Yeah.
She's not ready.
In the hallway, Xander and Willow are showing Faith around, like in the hallway of the school, and they seem to be getting along really well.
Yep.
This is like an ongoing thing where Faith feels like Buffy is really wound uptight,
Yep.
and like wound really tight. This is the first time we like get her talking about that, and it's funny because she's like, she needs to like live it up like you two, like Xander and Willow are like the height of excitement or something. And Cordelia comes up and is like, "What is it with you and Slayers?" Like, it's sick. And it is. It's weird.
He didn't have a crush on Kendra, did he? I don't remember.
Actually, I don't think so. She had a crush on him. Or maybe not a crush, but she was like, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know what to do. I don't know if it was Xander or just the fact that he was a boy.
Yeah.
So Faith runs into Scott.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just kind of talking.
And she's like super flirty.
And Buffy comes down and is like, Willow's like, oh, maybe Faith and Scott could hit it off if you're done with him. And Buffy's like, I wasn't.
No. I didn't
doesn't like it.
No. Mm-mm.
Doesn't like that Scott and Faith are talking.
Just a little jealous. Jelly.
Yeah. I put in the garage, question mark.
Like, I just put question mark because I was like, I don't know
it
what
looks
this
like a
is.
garage or something.
Who knows?
Mr. Trick and I put the other are after Faith.
I put monster.
Yeah. Are after Faith. So we know that we really didn't know who they were talking about before.
Well, when they said Slayer, we just assumed
we thought Buffy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we know that there's another Slayer, we figured out that they followed Faith to Sunnydale to get her. And because she has disfigured the cloven hoof vampire.
She gave him a scar.
Yeah, it's like his like whole like eye is like white and like there's a big scar.
He's already creepy looking, so it didn't really do that much damage.
Yeah, so he's mad that she messed his face up, even though he has cloven hands. Like,
yeah.
It makes you look more evil. You should be thanking her.
I mean, you're not going to be getting the ladies anyway.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
But he's there to pay her back for disfiguring him.
Yeah.
So at Buffy's house, Joyce is having dinner with Buffy and Faith is really like chowing down. She's having a good time. And Faith, Joyce is really fascinated with Faith. And she's like, how do you feel about slaying and all this? And like, Faith loves slaying.
She does.
She loves being a slayer.
She doesn't feel like it's stressful.
No. And she's like, all I know is I'm going to win and they're going to lose. Joyce thinks that's like a good like mindset to have and says like, Buffy's too negative. And
I feel like Buffy's realistic.
Mm-hmm. Because Buffy has lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, how long is like Faith has been doing this for like a couple months?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Buffy's been doing it for years.
Yeah, please. Yeah. So, Joyce is interested by Faith. And honestly, her reasons for what she tells her later on, like, make a lot of sense, to be honest. Like, because Joyce goes into the kitchen and Buffy follows. And they have a kind of conversation about Buffy's jealous that Joyce kind of likes her, but it's really about Joyce says, can't she just be the Slayer now? You don't need to be the Slayer because now she's the Slayer. And Buffy's like, it doesn't work like that. Like, the only way you get a new Slayer is when the old Slayer dies.
Yeah,
Whoops. Let that slip. So now Joyce knows that Buffy passed away at some point.
Joyce realizes that, and Buffy's like, oh, only for a few minutes.
Yeah. Like, that's like, like her mom's going to be okay with that. And she's just like, 2 of you is going to be safer than 1, which is true. And, like, I would think that, too. Like, if there's only needs to be 1 Slayer and there's another one, like, you can be free. You've done it forever. You've paid your prices. You've died. Like, you can go on and live your normal life. And that's what you'd want for your kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's a crazy thing, a crazy question to, like, bring up.
But it's not like that.
No, but Buffy's like, that's not how being a Slayer works. Yeah, so Joyce is just really worried about Buffy's safety.
She's like, she says, I tried to march in the Slayer Pride Parade, but she doesn't want her to die, basically.
Yeah, I love that, the Slayer Pride Parade.
Mm-hmm. That was cute.
So she's trying to get on board. She's working on it. Yeah. In the street, Buffy and Faith patrol together, and they start fighting about Buffy being uptight.
Yeah.
Buffy's kind of showing Faith the ropes, and it's very, like, there's a lot of, like, emotional tinder, like it's ready to, like, spark off at any moment. They're kind of, like, saying things around other things.
They're arguing a bit.
Yeah.
And, well, I think, I wrote Faith brings up Angel.
She does.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's a
sore
point.
Yeah, but Buffy's like, we don't know anything about Angel. Like, all of this. And then they get attacked by some vampires. Mm-hmm. And when there's, like, 3 of them, I think, and there's obviously two of Buffy and Faith. So 2 of them, like, take Buffy on when Faith fights 1. Mm-hmm. And one of the vampires says, we live for Coquistos? Coquistos? I think it says we live for Coquistos.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what he says before it. Yeah, so Buffy hears that, and then they're, like, still struggling.
Yeah, so, like, I feel like they were still kind of fighting, Faith and Buffy. And then Faith is taking this vampire on, and she just gets distracted, pummeling him. Yeah. She just goes in this zone or this trance or whatever, and she's just there. And, like, Buffy's, like, struggling.
Yeah, she's got 2 on her.
She's trying to call for Faith for help, and it's just not. She's like, just dust him already, come on.
Yeah.
And then Faith is just not hearing her, and I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah, Faith has gone to, like, some other place where she is just punching this vampire instead of, like, killing him. Like, she's just, like, Buffy. Playing with her food.
Yeah, yep.
And while Buffy is, like...
struggling.
Being
getting overpowered.
Yeah, getting overpowered.
Yeah. But she manages, and she calls Faith on it.
Yeah, she says, I think you, like... She's like, what... Buffy says, like, what are you doing? Like, you just, like, pummeling vampires. And she's like, are we supposed to be nice to the vampires? Like, you're in the wrong line of work for that. And Buffy says, I think you like slaying too much. Yeah. Like, you're too into it. It's, like, an outlet for some other, like, delinquents, like, stuff, some emotional issues that Faith might have.
Which is accurate.
In the hallway and in the library, Buffy complains to Giles about Faith.
And I didn't like this, because Giles is like, oh, she's just a plucky fighter. And I'm like, you know Buffy has good instincts, though. So I found that a little annoying, and I felt like he was just brushing it off.
I think he says something like, oh, you just have different, like, styles. And she's like, or whatever, something like that. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, mine is the sane one.
Yeah, which seems fair. And then,
because you said, like, she almost, like, got us killed.
I don't remember if, like, Giles says she needs a life, and then Buffy's like, she doesn't need a life, she has mine.
Yeah, she says she doesn't have a life like you do here. She doesn't have other things. And Buffy's like, she's got mine. Yeah, she's taking my life.
But then Giles is like, I mean, he offers to reach out to her watcher. So, yeah.
Yeah. And Buffy's like, I know I'm overreacting. I know I'm overreacting, but there is something there. She's dangerous. Like, she's gonna get herself killed or us killed. And
then she says to Giles, I overheard them say something. Taquitos?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, Coquistos? Is that how it went?
It was something else first, and then taquitos. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then he says taquitos. She's like, taquitos? Well, what was it?
I don't know.
It was something else first. It was 2 words first. And then she goes, taquitos? I live for taquitos? He's like, taquistos? She's like, yeah. So one of the vampires said. What was it?
I don't know.
Oh, it's going to annoy me.
I just thought that was hilarious. Taquitos, Coquistos.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like trying to remember, like, what did they say?
I live for taquitos. Yeah. I understand.
Because she said, like, is there anything about the vampires that, like...
stuck out to you.
Yeah, like tattoos or symbols or whatever. And so that's the only thing she has. That maybe they're... Because they could be a part of some kind of organization or whatever. Oh, wait.
So then Giles talks about how he's a vampire so old that his hands and his feet are cloven.
And Buffy doesn't think it's a coincidence.
Yeah, he's like, he arrived 2 days ago, and so did... Because that's when the 2 people disappeared, so he's like...
Yeah.
So she's like, I don't think it's a coincidence. That's when Faith arrived, too.
Yeah, he's like, you don't know. And she's like, okay, sure, but...
But we do know.
But I think it probably is. He thinks they're at their Faith. Or Buffy thinks they are. In the hallway...
This part's so cute.
Yeah. Scott tries again. Bless him.
Yeah, he does.
Bless his little heart.
Perseveres.
Asked Buffy to go to the Buster Keaton Festival.
Which is also adorable.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have known what that was in high school.
Oh my god. Like, for, like, a teenage boy to be into, like, that, like, I'd be like, oh, yes.
Yeah. Dreamy.
Yeah.
So dreamy.
So he's asking her, and she says yes. And then he's like, oh, okay, oh, great, you know. And he's like, I have a little gift for you. It's supposed to mean friendship, and I would like a friendship with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gives her a little box, and it's a colada ring.
Yeah. First of all, Scott. It's not a friendship ring, so there's that.
I mean, part of it is friendship, but
okay.
He meant a nice little thing. It's just a loaded
yes.
image. It's like a loaded object for her, and she like drops it, and it's like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
and he's like,
she
like has a like complete freak out.
meltdown. Yeah.
And he's like, I get the message, at least. So that's number 3.
Yeah.
That he has been rejected in a matter of like 2 days, probably.
Well, I feel so bad for him because they were having this cute little exchange at first. It was going so well, and then for her to just be so weird all of a sudden, I felt for him in that moment.
Yeah, poor thing.
Yeah, and you're in high school, and your emotions run high.
And so Giles comes up while she's still like feeling this because Scott had just walked away, and he said that he got hold of Faith's Watcher and that she's dead.
Mm-hmm. And then everything clicks for me now. And now I'm not annoyed with Faith anymore. Because I'm like, this is why she was acting the way she was. This is why she's like so... I mean, I understand that's her personality still. And I like her personality, but it was just
But there's context to her personality. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was really clinging on to Buffy's stuff.
Yeah. Did you ever think that Faith had killed her Watcher?
No.
Did that cross your mind?
No.
Oh.
Not even for a second.
I mean, that would be a twist. That would be a plot twist.
Oh, interesting.
It's not what happened, but I just didn't know if you thought maybe that's where it could go.
Nope. I didn't think that. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't remember like what I thought when I first saw that. Like, I can't remember, so I just was like, I wonder if that's like supposed to be an intentional lead or not.
Okay, for me it just clicked. It was just like, oh, this is why she's acting the way she is. This is why she's like so like trying to like find a place here, kind of. Mm-hmm. Like unintentionally taking over
inserting
Buffy's
herself
life.
because of that.
Yes, thank you. Those are the words I want. All right.
Yeah.
So then Buffy decides to go confront Faith at her shitty hotel.
She said her shitty motel, and this guy, the landlord, or not the landlord, like whoever he is,
the
hotel guy. He was also he's in my favorite show, Buffy, but he's also in my favorite sitcom. He was in a Frasier episode, which is my favorite sitcom. So this guy made the rounds in the 90s.
6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah, in the 90s of doing like his little guest spots on these shows. Okay. So he was in an episode of Frasier. So Buffy, he's there. I mean, he's in the room because Faith hasn't paid for it. Yeah. So he's like, hey, you got to pay it so much a week. And she's like, I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you.
And he's like, this isn't like rent. Like it's...
Yeah. And Buffy comes in and he's like, hey, it's more for roommates. And she's like, I'm just visiting. So then finally he leaves. And Buffy tells Faith that Kakistos is in town. Taquitos. Did I say it wrong?
No, sorry, you said it right. I just...
Oh, no. Please correct me, because I'm horrible with pronouncing things.
I was making a joke, and I said taquitos.
Oh, okay. Taquitos is in town. Let's go.
No, yes.
Before they get cold. So Faith kind of, like, freaks a bit and just starts packing her stuff.
Yep.
To run.
And this is interesting. Also, I'm like, ooh, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. This was a really good episode.
Because Faith doesn't seem scared of anything.
Nope.
But she's scared now.
Yep.
Right? So you're like, oh, God.
And then so she asks her what Faith did, which I thought was interesting. And then Faith tells Buffy to back off.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, you don't know what I've been through. I'll take care of this. Like, just mind your own business. Yeah. And I love how Buffy is like, you can't run from this. You can't whatever. Literally,
exactly what Buffy does.
2 episodes ago, Buffy.
And this isn't the first time.
Now you have the high road on the running away.
Mm-hmm. And she's still, like, not even telling everybody what would happen. So it's just, like, she's still trying to run away from her problem.
Yeah, so she's, like, lecturing Faith. I'm like, Buffy, maybe not. Maybe not do that.
Calling kettle black, is that what it is?
Yes, exactly. She finally gets out of her that Faith says that Kakistos, because she said confidently, Kakistos killed her Watcher.
Yeah.
That she saw what she did to her and she just couldn't stop it.
I can't imagine how traumatic that must be.
She said there's not a word for what they did to her, which sounds pretty gruesome.
It does sound. And also just like we see the connection that Buffy has with Giles. It's a bond that they have.
It's deep, yeah.
So just imagine what Faith went through. It's just
as we're talking about it now, it takes me back to that scene in the alleyway when, after Jenny died, when Buffy was so upset that Giles, like, basically went on a suicide mission. Remember? And in the rain, and they were, like, yelling at each other, and then they started crying.
Yep.
Like, I think that's a good example of, like, even at this point, like, 2 seasons in, I mean, well, 2 complete seasons, like, we're just started the 3rd, but, like, how intense their bond is already.
And I can't, like, and it kind of makes me think of, like, what Kendra's poor Watcher must have went through. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a knock at the door, and Faith looks through, and she's, like, the, for lack of a landlord person, or office manager, whoever.
But even before she opens the door, I'm like, no, this is a trap. This looks bad.
He's like, he looks dead.
He looks, yep.
Doesn't look good.
No.
So we're like, oh, he's being, like, propped up to, like, get the door open. So she opens the door, and of course, he is dead. It gets tossed aside.
Tossed in there.
And Kakistos and some vampires are there. And Buffy closes the door and locks it, and they buys them some time, and they escape out through, like, the bathroom window. She's like, okay, time to run.
Yeah.
So they are chased, and they get basically, they hide in, like, a room, and, like, the other vampires, like, run by. And Faith says that she saw her watcher die, and then she ran. So I think she's definitely dealing with running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the guilt of running, when that's not really her style. You know what I mean? She's really tough. And so I think she's really having problems with dealing with as she ran when her watcher died. And then they realized that there's, like, other bodies in there. So they intentionally drove them out of the hotel into, like, their den, essentially.
They, like, shepherded them. Shepherded them?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Shepherded them right to where they want them, and they they, like, fell into their trap. Yeah. So the other vampires come in, and Buffy's fighting vampires while Kakistos goes for Faith. So Buffy is occupied, and Kakistos is like, you're the one I want. Goes right to her.
And she kind of freezes.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she does freeze. She's kind of trying to defend herself, but she's not all there.
And he starts kind of pummeling her.
He does. And Buffy manages to, like, she doesn't, like, I think she might stake one, and then she just kind of incapacitates another.
Yeah, she's kind of doing a good job.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Trick and some chick vampire, they're like, well, peace out, homies.
Yeah, he's like, you know what, we'll just leave him. And something else that Buffy and Faith talked about right before they got chased was that Buffy says the number 1 rule of slaying is don't die. So you did the right thing.
Yeah, that's like, right. That was an important conversation.
So later, when they're in this fight, and Kakistos is, like, very much gaining on Faith. Like, he's closing in for the kill. Buffy yells, don't die! Like, remember, like, that's, like, your number 1 rule. Like, do not die. And so that kind of revives her a bit, so she can kind of, like, keep herself alive anyway. So Buffy stakes Kakistos.
And it doesn't work.
And nothing happens.
And it's like, what?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I think you need a bigger stake. We've never seen this happen before that I can remember.
No.
A vampire being staked and not working.
And then Buffy grabs a 2x4?
Or Faith does.
Faith does.
Yeah.
Okay, and just
drives this huge piece of wood through him.
Crap.
Yeah. That works. That was enough wood. And he gets dusted. So it was good that, like, Faith actually did it instead of Buffy.
Exactly.
That was important.
So she can get her closure maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Buffy's like, you hungry? And Faith's like, starved.
Yeah. Something true to these rumors about being horny and hungry? I don't know. And as you said, Mr. Trick and, like, the rest of the vampires were like, we're just gonna skedaddle. Yeah. We're just gonna skedaddle on, you know?
This isn't worth.
They were never, like, all in on his revenge thing. They were just more like, can we just hitch a ride to Sunnydale? You know, basically.
Helmo sounds fun.
So he takes off. So
like
we'll see.
Disneyland for vampires?
Exactly. So we'll see if we see him again. At the library, Giles will be both of their watchers.
Until a new one is
assigned for Faith.
I have a question for you, which just occurred to me now. It didn't occur to me while I was watching the episode. But, like, okay, you know how there's one Slayer, right?
Yes.
So one Slayer for the world, basically.
Yes.
Or, like, yeah. So
one Slayer called at a time. Yeah.
One Slayer called at a time. Yeah. Okay. So, like, how are there all these watchers? That's interesting.
That's a good question. So, yeah, the Watchers Council is a bunch of, like, watchers. There's watchers in training. There are there's higher than a watcher, kind of like the council is higher than a watcher. Okay. It's like the governing body of watchers. Okay. Right? So they probably wouldn't be a watcher of a Slayer.
Got it.
But yeah, there are, I think I don't know why. Like, you usually, like, a Slayer isn't, like, reassigned to, like, the next Slayer. It's not like one Watcher gets Slayer and then the other Slayer is there.
Like the Slayer.
When their Slayer dies, they are basically...
They have to be ready.
Maybe they do something else. I don't know what they do. But it's always, like, a different Watcher.
Okay. And then, like, I'm guessing the reason Giles wasn't invited to this fun retreat is because he needs to watch. Maybe the Watchers that get invited aren't watching.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because you think about it, like, Buffy... You have short lifespan.
Yep.
So if they, for some reason, they don't repeat a Watchers, you need to have a good, like, training. Like, get trained for a long time. I guess you need to have, like, a good amount of them available for the next Slayer because it's like the longest training for a job and the shortest, like, job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you train your whole life and then, like, you're only, like 2 years. Yeah. And then you're tired because your Slayer dies.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because if there's only one Slayer, why do we need so many Watchers? So... And we haven't met another Watcher. We've only, like, heard of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So.
And Buffy says she came through in the end.
Yeah. So that they come to an understanding. Buffy has some context on Faith, which I think helped her understand her. And I think this helps. She's like, it was good for her to, like, to face it and everything. So I think that's a lesson for Buffy, that she decides to come clean.
Yeah.
About Angel.
Yeah, which finally, I'm waiting for this. Yeah. I know it's only the... second episode.
Yeah. End of the third?
End of the third, yeah. But I was waiting for this.
So she tells, I think we don't see anyone else. I think we only see Giles and Willow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and Willow.
And she says, he got his soul back. It worked. The spell worked before.
He was cured.
We had to kill him. Yeah. He didn't remember what he did. He just held me. I kissed him. I told him I loved him, and then I killed him. Ugh. And they're like, Willow's shocked.
Yeah, and she says how sorry she is.
And Buffy says, it felt good to, like, get it out because she's been holding on to it for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good step for Buffy, for sure.
And then Willow offers to ask or to help Giles with the spell yet again.
She's still trying to convince him.
And Giles is like, there was no spell. And I was like, Giles knew.
Giles knew there was more. Maybe he didn't know that exactly, but he knew that there was more that she wasn't telling.
Yep.
And yeah, that's why he kept asking for more specific details. Can we talk about it again? Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole spell was a ruse to get her to open up and, like, say. And it really wasn't him. Like, it was really Faith. The experience she had with Faith, I think that did it.
I think you're right.
But I loved that, like, Giles knew that she was holding back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He knows the Slayer, right? So that was cute. I thought that was a cute part. In the hallway, Buffy waits for Scott. Leave him alone! Leave Scott alone!
But I thought this interaction was so cute. Yeah. She's just like, she knows how awkward this is going to be, but she's like, so, this festival thing, if maybe...
I understand if you wouldn't. You don't want to go,
think
but
I'm
if you
crazy.
do want to go, like, I would love to go with you still if you're okay with it, if you're not, like... And she's like, I thought if I knew I was going to go on the song, I would have brought water.
Yeah, it was cute.
And
he's like, well, I have to think about it.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like, this would be a genuine reaction.
But then he's just like, yes.
He, like, starts to walk away. He's like, I'm really have to think about it. He's like, okay, I thought about it. I'm like, we're good. Like, aw, he's so, like, so much.
Cute, yeah.
To put up with all this bullshit before they're
even
their first date.
Any other man would have run.
I wouldn't have blamed him. No. Like, this is a lot of hot and cold. Lukewarm and cold, not even hot. Yeah, so she says she has one thing to do, and then she's free all weekend, and they can go to the festival together.
Yeah.
So Buffy goes to the Crawford Street mansion. So this is the mansion where Angel and Spike and Drusilla were living in, where the whole Akathla stuff went down.
Yep.
And Buffy goes to where Angel died and says goodbye and leaves her clattering on the floor.
Yep, which is good.
Which is sweet. Yeah, she's letting go.
This is good closure.
Yeah, this is a good closure episode.
Yep. For everybody.
Just in time
for everybody.
There's no time for the... So she says goodbye, she leaves, we see the ring, and then all of a sudden the ring, like, a light comes down, the ring starts, like, the ground starts shaking, and so the ring's shaking, and then a portal opens and a naked Angel falls out.
And he looks confused.
All sweaty and shaking and...
Yeah, visibly traumatized.
Yeah, exactly.
So... What? What?
So Buffy's finally like, okay, like I can move on.
She should move on.
I can start to move on.
As Team Angel as I am, I feel like she still does need to move on because obviously this can't work. Mm-hmm. What had happened the first time with them?
Yeah.
They had that super unexpected thing when they decided to have sex. Which to me is almost like trying to tell teenagers not to have sex, which I don't really agree with, but anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But then, like, now that she had to kill him and now this, I I think we just need to...
There's a lot of baggage in this relationship.
It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah. So is this Angel? Like you said, is this Angelus? Is this Angel? Like, what is this? Like,
I'm guessing it's Angel because he just looked scared. He looked scared and confused.
Okay.
So, yeah, he didn't look competent.
yeah. So he kind of just lifts his head. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Where am I?
Yep.
And then that's the end of the episode.
So it has
So
something to do with the Clara ring. Something about Buffy's loves bringing him back. I don't know. That's my guess.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But yeah, so Angel's back.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Shit is right.
Yeah, and that's the end of the episode. So
Okay.
a lot happened. So my favorite quote was when Buffy says, I want to date, shop, and hang out, and go to school and save the world from unspeakable demons. You know, I want to do girly stuff.
That is really cute.
And then my favorite scene was when Buffy tells, I said the gang, but it really was only Giles and Willow, about Angel. I don't know. It wasn't like she wasn't overly emotional about it, but I don't know. It was a big deal for her to do that. So, and I didn't have a lot of competition, honestly, with the scenes.
Yeah.
So, for some reason. It was a good episode, but there wasn't like a really standout scene for me. So, that's the one I picked.
Okay. I'm realizing I didn't do my favorites. So, I had a couple favorite lines. One of them was kind of cute when they talk about, Buffy was saying she has time to be Martha Stewart since she's not at school. I thought that was funny.
And they talked about Martha Stewart slays. Like, she's just slaying, and Oz says, I heard she does, but she doesn't like to. That was funny.
And then when the limo or the Mr. Trick was like talking about the Caucasian persuasion in the Dale.
In the
darkness.
Dale. Yeah.
I thought that whole...
He's a compelling character.
I really liked him a lot, actually.
Yeah, he's compelling.
I have a crush on Mr. Trick, I'm not gonna lie. And then the interaction between, isn't it crazy when you get so hungry and horny after? And Buffy's like, sometimes I got a craving for not that yogurt.
That was a good one.
Okay. And then my favorite scene was actually, I think, when Buffy admitted what happened with Angel. I thought that was good. And just, like, Giles' little, like...
Yeah, that's part of the scene, too. That is part of the same scene. Like, where Giles reveals that...
He was just trying to get her...
He was just trying to get her to open up and, like, spill the beans, basically. Yeah, that was great.
Yep. Good closure episode.
Yeah. Just in time for the baggage to fly out of a portal right back under your feet.
I mean, it would be boring, I guess, otherwise.
So the state grade I gave it was 4.7. Did you do the same?
No, but I don't think I've ever rated something higher than you before.
Oh, okay. So I like I like all the new characters. Faith is really interesting. Mr. Trick is really interesting. Scott, Hart, I ship them. Buffy and Scott. I think they're really adorable. Giles, the smart Giles, I put, like, just him just knowing Buffy. You know what I mean? The rest of her friends aren't picking up on that there's more to the story, you know, but Giles knows. So I loved that. I said, like, Buffy being insecure again with Faith coming into the picture. 'Cause she was insecure with Kendra. It was a completely different situation, but she still was insecure. Yeah. She hated how Kendra and Giles got along. Yeah. Hated that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because this is her thing.
Yeah.
Slaying is her thing.
Yeah. So when, you know, her friends, like Willow and Xander really like Faith. Xander more than likes Faith. She's like, I don't like that. And she's talking to the guy that she likes. Like, there's just, Buffy's, like, really insecure in this episode. Yeah. I like that we get a little bit more information about the Watchers Council. Yeah. So, like, they they had to request that Giles be Faith temporary Watcher, and that was accepted. So there's, like, a whole, like, processes and a governing body that we are kind of starting to learn about.
Their little retreats or whatever.
Yeah, they have a retreat. He's like, they go punting, and there's this, and there's that, and they're probably having their nightcap right now. Yeah. He's, like, so, like, hurt. He's like, wish he could be there among his people. I put Xander, ew, stop.
Yeah.
Not a good look for Xander this episode.
No, definitely not.
Not a good look for Xander.
He sucked.
Yeah. And then I put Angel, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. Obviously, like, a really good cliffhanger, yeah.
Yeah.
That Angel drops out of the sky, and what the hell?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have
Get him some. He's gonna be naked for a long time.
I felt like I had closure about it. I didn't want him to die, and then I finally got over it, and now
he's back.
Yeah.
You and Buffy are gonna have some feelings.
We are.
Yeah.
Mixed feelings.
Yeah. So great episode.
I actually, honestly, I don't know if I have much to add to that. I agree. I love Faith. I think she's so great. She's funny, sassy. Yeah. Her and Buffy balance each other out, actually.
They're very different.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a character like Faith.
No.
Or have had. I guess the closest we could kind of say is Cordelia in personality-wise, but not. They're not the same.
No, because Cordelia's kind of bitchy.
Yeah.
And Faith is not. Faith seems to like everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, Scott, obviously. So cute. So cute. They're so adorable. Like, I do actually hope they date, although this whole Angel thing might throw a wrench in things.
Mm-hmm.
I did give it a 4.8, actually.
Good. We're in the ballpark. We're in the ballpark there. Yeah, it's a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like it.
yeah, that creative kill at the end with the 2x4.
Oh, the big
4x4? It's not a 2x4. It was a 4x4, right?
I think so, because it was like a square.
4x4.
Like, it was huge.
Yeah.
It wasn't flat. It was
Oh,
like
no,
a
yeah,
square.
you're right. 2x4. Oh, God, whatever.
No, I think you're right. A 4x4.
4x4?
A 2x4 is like, it would be like a rectangle, right? I don't like math. It was a big piece of wood.
It was a big piece of wood.
That was cool. Yeah, I forgot about that kill. That's different. I don't think we ever seen anything
sometimes
like
we
that.
talk about creative kills when we do our thing, so I made a note.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, because I kind of like just...
Sometimes when we get to our post-mortem, I'm unprepared. So I'm trying to...
There's a lot of death, so you have to like really... Yeah, you have to make notes. Like one that like catches your eye. R.I.P. Pat. Catches your eye. See what I did there? Okay, yeah, so your question for next week.
Okay. Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beasts. One of the Scoobies think they murdered someone.
What?
Who? Like, not who did was murdered, but which Scooby
Oh.
thinks that they murdered someone.
Thinks that they murdered someone.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Willow or Xander.
Think so?
Yep. 100%.
Okay.
Oh, but Oz is a werewolf? No, it's gonna be Willow or Xander. I could both see them freaking out over this. I can just picture Willow going on to I'm gonna say Willow.
Willow would be like, she can't even cross the street at lunch. So, okay, we're going with Willow.
Yep.
All right, so we'll see if you're right. So that wraps up season 3, episode 3, Faith, Hope, and Trick. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. You can email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with season 3, episode 4, Beauty and the Beasts. See you real soon.
Bye.
Bye.